Happy Thursday. Happy post-Earth Day. Today I'm going to do a post-Earth Day story time reading, and my leaves just fell apart. But it's all good because there's plenty more where that goes around because I'm poison ivy. I just got vines just growing everywhere. So today I'm going to be reading Dr. Seuss's The Lorax, which is a very environmental conscious book. It was sort of ahead of its time, and it's pretty much, what we're going through today with the environment. And with this pandemic going on, I've noticed that a lot of people have been sharing photos of our environment restarting itself because, it's no one out there to cause pollution. Not a lot of cars are on the road, so the air is clearer. And, waters are clearer as well because not a lot of people are at the beach because a lot of the beaches are closed. But anyways, without further ado, I will be reading The Lorax. All right. The Lorax, originally published in 1971. At the far end of town, where the grickle grass grows, and the wind smells slow and sour when it blows, and no birds ever sing excepting old crows, is the street of the lifted Lorax. And deep in the grickle grass, some people say, if you look deep enough, you can see today. You can still see today, where the Lorax once stood, just as long as it could, before somebody lifted the Lorax away. What was the Lorax? And why was it there? And why was it lifted and taken somewhere? From the far end of the town, where the grickle grass grows, the old onceler still lives there. Ask him, he knows. You won't see the onceler. Don't knock at his door. He stays in his lurkin on top of his store. He lurks in his lurkum, cold under the roof, where he makes his own clothes out of muffer moof. And one special dank after midnight in August, he peeks out of the shutters, and sometimes he speaks and tells how the Lorax was lifted away. He'll tell you, perhaps, if you're willing to pay. On the end of the rope, he lets down a tin pail, and you have to toss the 15 cents in, and a nail, and the shell of a great-great-great-grandfather. Okay. Then he pulls up the pail, makes the most careful count to see if you paid him the proper amount. Then he hides what you paid away in his snoof, his secret strange hole in his grooveless glove. Ooh, that's weird. Then he grunts, I will call you by whisper my phone, for the secrets I tell are for your ears alone. Down slops the whisper my phone to your ear, and the old onceler's whisper are not very clear, since they have to come down through a snurgly hose, and he sounds as if he had smallish bees up his nose. Now I tell you, he says with his teeth sounding gray, how the Lorax got lifted and taken away. It all started way back, such a long, long time back. Hey, see a lot of people viewing right now. Way back in the days when the grass was still green and the pond was still wet and the clouds were still clean, and the song of the swarmy swans rang out in space. One morning I came to this glorious place, and I first saw the trees, the truffula trees, the bright-colored troughs, and the truffula trees, mile after mile in the fresh morning breeze. And under the trees, I saw brown barbaloots frisking about in their barbaloot suits, and they played in the shade and ate truffula fruit. From the rupulous pond came the comfortable sound of the humming fish humming while splashing around. But those truffula trees, all my life I'd been searching for trees such as these. The touch of their tufts was much softer than silk, and they had the sweet smell of fresh butterfly milk. I felt the great leaping of joy in my heart. I knew just what I'd do. I unloaded my cart. In no time at all, I had built a small shop. Then I chopped down the truffula trees with one chop. And with great skillful skill and great speedy speed, I took the soft top and I knitted it a need. Okay. The instant finished, I heard a gazoo. I looked. I saw something pop out of a stump of a tree I chopped down. It was sort of a man. Describe him. That's hard. I don't know if I can. He was shortish and oldish and brownish and mossy, and he spoke with a voice that was sharpish and bossy. Mister, he said with a sawdusty sneeze, I am the Lorax. I speak for the trees. I speak for the trees, for the trees have no tongues. I am asking you, sir, at the top of my lungs. He was very upset as he shouted and puffed. What's that thing you've made out of the truffula trough? Uh-oh. Look, Lorax, I said, there's no cause for alarm. I chopped just one tree. I'm doing no harm. I'm being quite useful. This thing is a need, a fine something that all people need. It's a shirt, it's a sock, it's a glove, it's a hat. But it has other usage, yes, far beyond that. You can use it for carpets, for pillows, for sheets, or curtains, or covers for bicycle seats. The Lorax said, Sir, you are crazy with greed. There is no one on earth who would buy that fool need. But the very next minute, I proved he was wrong. For just at that minute, a chap came along, and he thought that the need that I knitted was great. He happily bought it for $3.98. I laughed at the Lorax. You poor stupid guy. You never can tell what some people will buy. I repeat, cried the Lorax, I speak for the trees. Okay. I'm busy, I told him. Shut up, if you please. I rushed across the room and in no time at all built a radio phone and put a quick call. I called all my brothers and uncles and aunts, and I said, listen here. Here's a wonderful chance for the whole Onceler family to get mighty rich. Get over here fast. Take the road to North Niche. Turn left on Weehawken sharp right as South Stitch. And in no time at all, the factory I built, the whole Munster family was working full tilt. We were all knitting needs just as busy as bees, to the sound of the chopping of the truffle trees. Uh-oh, chopping down trees. Then, oh baby, oh, how my business did grow. Now, chopping one tree at a time was too slow. So I quickly invented my super axe hacker, which whacked off 4 truffle trees at one smacker. We were making needs 4 times as fast as before, and that Lorax, he didn't show up anymore. But the next week he knocked on my office door. He snapped, "I am the Lorax who speaks for the trees, which you seem to be chopping as fast as you please. But I'm also in charge of the brown burbaloots who played in the shade in their burbaloot suits and happily lived eating truffle fruits. Now, thanks to your hacking my trees to the ground, there's not enough truffle fruit to go around. And my poor boobaloots are all getting the crummies because they have gas and no food in their tummies." The truffles. Can't tear them trees, can't tear them truffle trees. They love living here, but I can't let them stay. They'll have to find food, and I hope that they may. "Good luck, boys," he cried, and he sent them away. I, the onceler, felt sad as I watched them go, but business is business, and my business must grow regardless of crummies and tummies, you know. I mean no harm, I must truly did not, but I had to grow bigger, so bigger I got. I biggered my factory, I biggered my roads, I biggered my wagons, I biggered the loads of the needs I shipped out. I was shipping them forth to the south, to the east, to the west, to the north. I went right on biggering, selling more needs to biggered my money, which everyone needs. Oh boy. Then again, he came back. I was fixing some pipes when the old nuisance Lorax came back with more gripes. "I am the Lorax," he coughed and whiffed. He sneezed and snuffled and snargled and sniffed. "Onceler," he cried with a foolish croak, "Onceler, you're making such a smugulous smoke. Oh, my poor swarmy swans, why can't they sing a note? No one can sing who has smog in his throat." And so, the Lorax said, "Please pardon my cough. They cannot live here. I'm sending them off. Where will they go? I don't know. They may have to fly for a month or a year to escape the smog you've smogged around here." Oh, that's dangerous. First you're cutting down the trees, now you have smog. You're affecting everything. Oh, let me show you. Look at them, they're flying away. Poor swarmy swans. All right. "What's more," snapped the Lorax. His dander was up. "Let me say a few words about gloopity-glop. Your machinery chugs on day and night without stop, making glippity-glop Also, slippity slop. And what did you do with this leftover goo? I'll show you, you dirty old once-ler man, you. You're glubbing the pond where the humming fish hummed. No more can they hum, for their gills are all gummed. Whew. So, I'm sending them off. Oh, their future is dreary. They'll walk on their fins and get woefully weary in search of some water that isn't so smeary. It's getting sadder and sadder by the page. All right. And then I got mad. I got terribly mad. I yelled at the Lorax. Now listen here, Dad. All you do is yap, yap, and say bad, 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 bad. Well, I've had the rights, sir, and I'm telling you, I intend to go on doing just what I do. And for your information, you Lorax, I'm figuring on biggering and biggering and biggering and biggering. Turning more truthfully into needs, which everyone needs. And at that very moment, we heard a loud whack. From outside in the field came a sickening smack of an axe of a tree. Then we heard the tree fall, the very last truthful tree of them all. No more trees, no more needs, no more work to be done. So in no time, my uncles and my aunts, everyone, all waved me goodbye. They jumped into my cars and drove away under the smoke-smogged stars. Now all that was left, neath the bad-smelling sky, was my big empty factory, the Lorax, and I. The Lorax had nothing, just gave me a glance. Just gave me a very sad, sad backward glance as he lifted himself by the seat of his pants. And I'll never forget the grim look on his face when he hiced himself and took leave of this place. Through a hole in the smog without leaving a trace. He's like, I'm out of here. And all that the Lorax left here in this mess was a small pile of rocks with the one word, unless. Whatever that meant, well, I just couldn't guess. That was long, long ago, but one day since that day, I've sat here and worried away through the years while my building had fallen apart. I've worried about it with all my heart. But now, said the once-ler, now that you're here, the word on the Lorax seemed perfectly clear. Unless someone like you cares a whole awful lot, nothing is going to get better. It's not. So, catch, calls the once-ler. He lets something fall. It's the truthfulest seed. It's the last of all. You're in charge of the last of the truthfulest seeds. And the truthful trees are what everyone needs. Plant a new truthfula. Treat it with care. Give it clean water. Feed it clean air. Grow a forest, protect it from axes that hack. Then the Lorax and all of his friends may come back. The end. Oh, such a wonderful tale. So, what did we learn about this story? industrialization, deforestation, well, to be a little bit easier, you know, with the trees being torn down, animals had nowhere to live, no food to eat. The air became clouded with the smoke, with the factories going, you know, keeping the business of his kneading factory. You know, it's just more like an environmental conscious story, and only you can start over this, start to regenerate the world again. Regenerate the environment. Like, he gave the young man a seed and said, look, let's start this over again. Unless you can do it, make that difference, and with this whole pandemic going on, nature is definitely running its course as always. Trees are still growing, water is still flowing, but at the end of the day, when things get back up and running, we still have to keep in mind of the things that we take for granted: clean air, clean water, trees we use to breathe, food, when we grow, cultivating like vegetables and things like that to eat. We have to keep in mind that, it's limited and it could be gone just like that. And then we'll have even bigger problems in the world. So with that being said, thank you guys for tuning in today. And I may do a second story a little later. So stay tuned. And of course I chose Poison Ivy for my outfit today. And also, fun fact, that was one of my nephew's favorite stories, the Lorax. So if you get a chance to rewind this back in case you missed it, check it out, little man, my little baby. So, all right, guys, thank you for tuning in. And remember, stay safe. If you're home, stay indoors unless you have to go out. And if you're working out in the field, be safe, be careful, and you all are in my prayers because I'm also an essential worker. I'm just off today. But yeah, we have to keep each other in prayer. So without, further ado, I'm going to bid you adieu. All right, it's time for me to get going, guys. Love you. Thank you for tuning in, and hopefully I'll do another one later. Bye.